Hello and namaste to all of you. This is Jayvin Shala Singh for Department of Physiotherapy and Diagnosis from Jyoti Vidyapeeth Women's University. So in past sections, I've talked with you about the importance of carbohydrates and proteins and dietary fibers in your diet. So for today's section, I will be talking about the next macromolecule, that is your protein. So, apart from carbohydrates and fats, proteins are also important in our diet. So, while we were studying about protein chemistry, we got to know about three types of proteins, which are amino acids, that is essential, semi-essential, and non-essential amino acids. So, here we'll talk about the essential amino acids. So essential amino acids, these are the proteins from building blocks of body tissues, and only 10 to 15% of total energy is derived from proteins. And when enough carbohydrates are present in the diet, the amino acids are not used for yielding energy, and this is known as the protein sparing effect of carbohydrates. So during starvation, amino acids, they may act as energy sources, and proteins are the only source of essential amino acids. So the requirement of protein is will show in the next sections. And as per the WHO and FAO recommendation, in 1985, the safe levels of protein intake for an adult is 0.75 to zero point 0.8 grams per kg per day. And for the synthesis of body proteins, all essential amino acids should be supplied in adequate amount and in adequate quantities at the same time. So cysteine and tyrosine, they can be synthesized, and methionine and phenylalanine are available. So this requirement of the precursor amino acids is determined by the availability of product, and the remaining amino acid can be synthesized provided so there is enough supply of proteins in total, and only three amino acids such as alanine, aspartate, and glutamate, they are dispensable, and they can be synthesized from pyruvate, oxalate, and alpha ketoglutarate respectively. And these precursors are generally available in plenty. So the most important term that comes from your protein metabolism is your nitrogen balance, so which is usually given in your short notes or long notes. So what nitrogen balance stands for is that a normal healthy adult is said to be in nitrogen balance because the dietary intake is equal to the daily loss through the urine. So whatever the amount of protein that is taken and whatever is excreted, that is if that is in balance or that is equal, that is called your nitrogen balance. So the normal in normal healthy individual, they are said to be nitrogen balance because the dietary intake will be equal to the loss through your urine, feces, or skin. So if intake is I and loss is through urine is U, through feces is F, and through skin is S. So I will be equal to U plus F plus S. So when the excretion exceeds the intake, it is negative nitrogen balance. And if intake excretes the excretion, it is positive nitrogen balance. And when nitrogen balance can actually be measured by calculating dietary intake of protein nitrogen, that is 16% of the body weight, and measuring the daily excretion. So the factors affecting nitrogen balance would be your growth, your hormone during the pregnancy, convalescence, your acute illness, chronic illness, and your protein deficiency. So let's go through each factor one by one. So first factor, that is your growth. So during the period of active growth, a state of positive nitrogen balance will exist. And on an average, when a person gains 5 kg, about 1 kg of proteins are added to the body. And for this, about 160 gram of nitrogen has to be retained so that he or she has to be in positive nitrogen balance. Now, the second factors that will affect nitrogen balance is your hormones. So, most importantly, growth hormones, your insulin, and your androgens. They promote positive nitrogen balance. That is when intake will exceed your excretion. So, while these corticosteroids, they create a negative nitrogen balance. That is the condition when excretion will exceed your intake. Now, in case of pregnancy, a pregnant woman will be in state of positive nitrogen balance due to the growth of fetus. So, fetus will require most of the protein, and that's why it will be the state of positive nitro. Most of the protein and amino acids will be consumed. So, that will be a state of positive nitrogen balance. Nextly, in case of your convalescence, a person convalescing after an illness or surgery will be in state of positive nitrogen balance since the recovering body will require more and more amount of protein and amino acids. So due to active regeneration of the tissues, right? And now next factor that affects is your acute illness. Now, negative nitrogen balance is seen in subjects who are immediately after surgery, trauma, and burns because body, when it's trying to recover, it will consume more body cells. They try to consume more and more amounts of proteins. Uh, Next is your after acute illness, it's chronic illness. Now, malignancy, uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, and other debilitating diseases, they show negative nitrogen balance. Next factor that affects is your protein deficiency. So the deficiency of even a single essential amino acid, they can cause negative nitrogen balance and cause prolonged starvation in another, which is another important cause. Now, the question arises is that how will you maintain the nitrogen balance? So, in order to maintain the nitrogen balance, one has to satisfy the needs of nitrogen intake. So, which are firstly, the obligatory nitrogen loss is 3.5 grams of nitrogen per day for a 65 kg person. So, through urine, feces, and your cutaneous loss, and this could be equivalent to 22 grams of protein. Now, requirement of protein turnover. So, the minimum daily requirement to compensate for about two categories is 0.75 to zero point 0.8 grams per kg weight of good quality protein. And the protein that is required for growth. So, it is applicable in case of your infants, children, adolescence, pregnancy, lactation, and your convalescence. So, as growth stops, protein requirement also decreases. Now, after this, there is recommended protein allowances. So, those are the important values that one needs to learn. So, in case of infants, 2.5 grams per kg body weights of body weight per day of protein is recommended. Now, in case of children up to 10 years of age, 1.75 grams per kg body weight per day of protein is recommended. In case of adolescent boys or girls, 1.6 grams per kg body weight, or in case of girls, it's 1.5 grams per kg body weight per day of protein is recommended in diet. For adult men or women, zero point 0.8 grams per kg body weight per day of protein is recommended, whereas in case of pregnancy, 2 grams per kg body weight per day is recommended. So, as in case of your lactation, 2.5 grams per kg body weight per day is recommended. So, that was about your protein, importance of proteins in your diets. So, In previous sections, I've already told you about fats and carbohydrates and fibers. And today we have covered up the protein and the nitrogen balance and the factors that affect nitrogen balance. Also, how you maintain the nitrogen balance. So, in next sections, we'll be talking about the nutritional values and biological values. So, these are again the important terms that are often asked in your short notes. So, if you have any doubts regarding the present topics, you can contact me. And until then, take care and goodbye.